The Voynich manuscript is a 15th century illustrated codex written in an unknown language that no one on Earth, human or AI, can decipher. There are two types of people in this world. Those who accept that some things are unknowable, and those who are one sleepless night away from attempting to summon demons through historical PDFs. I belong to the second category. I have stared at the Voynich manuscript long enough that I'm pretty sure it has started staring back. This book is like if a medieval botanist, an alchemist, and an alien toddler collaborated on a coloring book while overdosing on swamp water. Every page is chaos, impossible plants with roots like intestines, naked women bathing in what appears to be sentient slime tubes, constellations that look like astrological tax fraud. Cryptographers, linguists, mathematicians, all of them took a crack at it and walked away emotionally damaged. One AI attempted to translate it and returned a single output. No. Scholars say it might be written in Proto-Romance language. Others think it's glossolalia. I think it's instructions, and we're all too stupid to follow them. It doesn't just refuse to be read. It taunts you. You don't decode the manuscript. It decodes you, peeling your sanity layer by layer until you start tasting colors. Some say it might even be a hoax. A hoax? Who wakes up one morning and says, I'm going to invent 200 pages of botanical hallucinations in an imaginary alphabet just to prank scholars 600 years in the future? No, this isn't a hoax. This is a test. And humanity is failing spectacularly. The WOW signal was a 1977 radio transmission detected by astronomer Jerry Emmon that appeared to come from deep space and has never been heard again. Do you understand how insulting it is that we've been broadcasting sitcoms, sports commentary, and crypto scams into the cosmos for decades, and the one time the universe responds, it does so with a single 72-second message and then ghosts us? This wasn't just static. It wasn't random noise. It was so mathematically precise that Jerry didn't write interesting or huh. In the margin, he wrote wow, like a kid who just saw a dragon at a Wendy's drive-thru. Every scientist since then has been desperately refreshing the cosmic inbox, like ex-lovers checking if their toxic partner texted back. Nothing. Silence. It's the interstellar equivalent of someone calling you, breathing heavily, whispering soon, and then changing their number. People say it was aliens, but honestly that makes it worse. Because if that was extraterrestrial intelligence, then they heard us, contacted us, and decided correctly that we weren't worth a follow-up. Imagine being evaluated by a godlike civilization and being deemed not even worthy of spam. No, hello. No. Prepare yourselves. Not even a space meme. Just one glorious radio scream, like a cosmic notification ping, and then do not disturb forever. At this point, I don't even want contact. I want closure. I want them to text back, NVM wrong planet. Or at least send us a thumbs down emoji so I can finally move on. The hum is a persistent, low-frequency noise reported around the world that only certain people can hear, with no confirmed source. If you hear it, congratulations. You've unlocked the worst audio DLC humanity never asked for. Imagine sitting in your house at 3 a.m. when everything is dead silent, but suddenly it's like God left his subwoofer on. Not loud enough to prove it exists. Not quiet enough to ignore. It's the sound equivalent of having a mosquito inside your skull playing didgeridoo covers. People who hear the hum go through stages of grief. First confusion, then annoyance, then the terrifying realization no one else hears it. Husbands accuse wives of pranking them with hidden speakers. Neighbors tear walls apart. Some people even move across the country just to escape it, only for the hum to pack its bags and beat them there. Scientists tried investigating. They set up instruments, measured frequencies, ran simulations. Best explanation so far? Probably something. You know it's bad when academia gives up and labels your problem as /__. Some think it's military surveillance tech. Some think it's whales screaming to the core of the earth. Personally, I think it's a cosmic notification sound, and the universe is reminding us we're still subscribed to existence, whether we like it or not. Shadow people are dark humanoid figures reportedly seen during sleep paralysis or peripherally during waking moments. Everybody loves to say sleep paralysis demons aren't real. It's just chemical suppression of motor function combined with hypnopompic hallucinations. Okay, Dr. Science, explain why everyone sees the same silhouette standing in the corner like it paid rent. It's never a friendly shape. It's not a bunny. It's not a cloud. It's always a 6-foot-tall tax collector made of darkness, waiting respectfully until your soul ripens like a pear. Sleep paralysis is supposed to be harmless. That's like saying drowning is fine, as long as you stay underwater politely. You're trapped in your own body like a hostage in flesh prison, and your captor is just watching, waiting, breathing. How does a hallucination have breathing patterns? Some report the shadow crouches over them. Others say it sits on their chest like an evil weighted blanket. One guy claimed it whispered, "Not yet. Not yet, brother. Schedule the appointment properly next time." And the worst part isn't the paralysis. It's what happens after. When you wake up, move freely, turn on the lights, and you still see something shift in the corner. Because what if sleep paralysis isn't hallucination at all? What if paralysis isn't a nightmare? It's just when you notice what's been watching you your whole life. Mokombembe is a cryptid said to inhabit the Congo River Basin, often described as a living dinosaur. Let's just stop pretending this isn't the most absurd mix of jungle fever and desperate hope. People have been wandering the Congo swamps for decades, squinting through mosquito clouds and giant leaves, reporting sightings of a long-necked, water-loving beast that apparently survived the mass extinction that killed the dinosaurs. Sure, why not? Somewhere out there, evolution just shrugged and said, "Hey, let's leave one giant lizard behind for tourists and cryptozoologists." Expeditions fail. Cameras fail. Guides vanish. Every reported photo looks like your cousin's PS1 pet simulation game, yet some poor souls swear they saw it, felt its gaze, smelled swamp dinosaur breath. Imagine staring at a lake at midnight, hearing ripples like someone is splashing water with a garden hose the size of a minivan, and then seeing a silhouette so prehistoric you swear evolution just got lazy. It's like nature itself is trolling humanity. You want Jurassic Park? Not in theaters. Try your local swamp. And honestly, I want to believe. Because if a dinosaur can survive in a swamp for 65 million years without anyone catching on GoPro, maybe there's hope for me to survive adulthood without completely losing my mind. Cicada 3301 is an enigmatic organization that posted complex puzzles online, widely believed to recruit highly intelligent individuals for unknown purposes. Imagine waking up one morning to find a cryptic image online that, if solved, could presumably change your life, or, at the very least, permanently warp your brain. Cicada 3301 is like the Illuminati on steroids, but instead of ritual robes, they just hand you a riddle with hexadecimal ciphers, ancient poetry, and obscure references to obscure references. People have literally quit jobs, abandoned families, and traveled continents to solve their puzzles. And for what? Nobody knows. Some say they're recruiting hackers. Others say they're testing philosophers. Some whisper they're just bored entities from a parallel dimension laughing at human obsession with unlocking secrets. Picture yourself lying awake, red-eyed, chewing on a notebook for 3 days straight because you think the answer is hidden in an 800-year-old book written in dead Latin. Then, after solving the entire thing, nothing. Absolute void. It's like a cosmic trolling algorithm designed specifically to see how far human obsession can stretch before snapping. Cicada 3301 doesn't just recruit. It teaches you patience, despair, and the ultimate lesson. The hunt is a high. The prize is your mental breakdown. The black-eyed children are paranormal entities often described as young kids with completely black eyes who appear at night, asking to be let inside homes or vehicles. Imagine your life is stable, mundane, even, and suddenly a knock at the door feels like the universe itself is coughing directly into your soul. You open it, and there they are, pale, small, innocent-looking children, except their eyes aren't just dark. They're voids, endless pits sucking sanity through your eyeballs. People report an unshakable feeling of dread, the type that seeps into your chest and makes your heartbeat sound like a funeral drum in a mausoleum. Rational explanations exist, of course. Sleep deprivation, pranks, mass hysteria. But I don't care about rationality. Rationality is a joke when a 7-year-old's gaze can freeze you mid-breath. These kids don't just ask for entry. They demand it politely but with a weight that crushes. You know the stories. Those who let them in report weeks of unexplainable misfortune. Those who refuse? Some claim the knocking continued for hours, escalating, whispering in voices that echo inside your head like a loop recording of forgotten nightmares. The eeriness lies in their consistency. Reports span decades, continents, and cultures. Some researchers suggest vampiric or demonic origins. Others invoke folkloric explanations. But the core terror is in the interaction. The polite, monotonous speech, the unnatural stillness, the overwhelming aura of not-humanness. It's a psychological assault disguised as innocence. And the worst part? Even just thinking about them creates an almost physical chill. They exist in the liminal space between myth and experience, preying on our human reflex to protect and help children. Every story feels like the universe's cruel little joke. Where the thing most instinctively safe is actually your undoing. I would give anything to never meet them. Yet part of me aches to see if the darkness behind those eyes is bottomless, and I suspect that same curiosity is exactly what they feed on. The Diet Law Pass incident involves the mysterious deaths of 9 hikers in the Ural Mountains in 1959 under bizarre, unexplained circumstances. 9 bodies, cut tense on the inside, shoes abandoned, signs of internal trauma without external wounds, radiation traces, and a mountain that suddenly became a funeral ground. It's as if some invisible director staged the entire thing just to prove how helpless humans are in the face of chaos. You read the autopsy reports and feel the world tilt. Fractured skulls, broken ribs, and yet no struggle outside the tent. Some vanished into the snow. Others were found half-dressed, crawling in panic. Theories abound. Avalanches, secret military tests, UFOs, Yeti attacks, paranoid government experiments. But none satisfy because the truth, if it ever existed, is crueler than narrative. The mountain doesn't care about explanations. The snow doesn't leave hints for curious minds. The hikers were just meat, heat, and breath in a hostile universe that didn't even pause to notice. And the more you read, the more your mind tangles itself. Why did they cut out a tent? Why leave clothing behind? Why would the human body show internal devastation without external force? You can chase logic, you can rationalize, you can try to turn their story into a detective novel. But the mountain isn't a puzzle, it's a mirror reflecting human fragility and cosmic indifference. You feel the cold bite at your own skin when imagining it. The quiet snow, the impossibility of warmth, the subtle sound of something inhuman brushing past. The Diet Law Pass incident isn't just an unsolved mystery. It's a haunting sensation that sometimes the universe itself experiments on you just to remind you how fleeting and insignificant your existence is, and that sometimes no story, no theory, no rationalization will ever bring peace. The rake is a humanoid creature of modern folklore, described as pale, emaciated, and terrifyingly fast, often appearing at night to stalk victims. The rake doesn't creep. It doesn't lurk. It invades, like an email you didn't consent to but can't delete. Imagine a creature that is less alive and more the physical manifestation of every fear you've ever ignored. Its skin is gray-white, stretched tight over bones like wet paper over a skeleton, eyes black and empty like bad Wi-Fi sockets in your nightmares. Victims describe waking to its presence, hearing breathing that is not theirs, feeling a weight of pure malevolence pressing down on their chests. And here's the best part. It's fast and possibly fast, but not in a predator chase way. More like it moves along the very edges of perception, appearing only where your mind doesn't want to notice, in peripheral vision, in corners, in the thin space between light and shadow. Stories vary. Some say it whispers, others say it claws. Some say it leaves scars on both body and psyche. Entire threads online catalog encounters, warnings, even rules like never look in the eyes, never call its name, never stay alone at night. You start to realize it's less a monster and more a psychological parasite, a living concept of anxiety given claws and teeth. Some theorists claim it's the embodiment of our primal fear of mortality. Others suggest a darker truth, that this entity exists outside folklore, patiently feeding off the collective dread of every sleepless human on the planet. And if that's true, then every story, every whisper warning is just more sustenance A digital banquet. Reading about it, thinking about it, typing its name. Congratulations, you're participating in your own terror. There's no satisfying explanation, no resolution, just a creeping awareness that the creature might already be watching you now, sitting in a corner of your room, smiling through those hollow, endless eyes. SCP-173 is a fictional creature from the SCP Foundation mythos, described as a concrete humanoid statue that moves impossibly fast when unobserved and kills by snapping necks. There's a particular kind of fear that doesn't announce itself. It doesn't roar. It doesn't chase. It waits, patient, mocking you with stillness, and then it strikes when the smallest, most innocent human flaw surfaces. That's SCP-173. The moment you see it, your brain screams relief. It's a statue, safe. But your body knows the truth, the hidden rule whispered in every containment protocol, every warning. Blink even once and you are dead. The horror is in the simplicity. A concrete statue, a few smears of paint, a humanoid shape, and suddenly your perception is the difference between life and oblivion. You think about it lying in bed, alone in the dark. Blink, shudder, there, gone. Or maybe just closer. It is as much a philosophical terror as a physical one. Not because it kills fast, but because it exploits the most human, uncontrollable act. The blink, the involuntary pause in consciousness, the moment your body insists on function while your brain is briefly distracted. The containment procedures are a nightmare in themselves. Guards must maintain constant eye contact, sometimes in groups, rotating every few seconds to avoid fatigue. Imagine the mental strain of being forced to stare at a statue for hours, while knowing a single lapse will make the difference between life and a snapped neck. And yes, this is fictional, but read the stories carefully. They are constructed in a way that preys on your own mind, bending your perception until blinking feels like a calculated act of rebellion against survival itself. The descriptions are devilishly precise. Concrete body, spray-painted markings, humanoid proportions slightly off, limbs capable of impossible speed. No explanation is given for how it moves, what it wants, or why it kills. You don't need one. Your imagination fills in the blanks with perfect horror. There's something almost comical, if you think about it, about the idea of a murderous statue, a perfectly still, immobile figure that only exists as a threat when unobserved. It's absurd. It's a joke written in marble and cement, a cosmic prank by some authorial hand that understands human obsession. But then you remember the most terrifying part. It feels real because the terror doesn't depend on plausibility. It depends on your mind's willingness to visualize, to imagine, to simulate the moment a creature outpaces your blink and strikes. People who have read SCP-173 accounts report a visceral effect, a creeping anxiety in their peripheral vision, a compulsive need to keep scanning rooms, checking corners, avoiding blinking for as long as possible. You start to notice statues differently, mannequins differently, even ordinary human shapes at night. The world becomes a labyrinth of potential threats because your brain has been trained to anticipate the impossible. And let's not ignore the psychological brilliance of SCP-173's design. Unlike conventional monsters, vampires, werewolves, zombies, this creature does not need a narrative justification. It doesn't need a backstory or a motive. It exists as a pure existential threat. Blink, die, observe, live, repeat. The rules are so elegantly simple that they create infinite permutations of fear. You can imagine it crouched in a corner, lurking behind a doorframe, waiting in your car while you glance away to check the rear-view mirror. You feel its presence in the space just beyond your vision, in the thin margin where your mind cannot fully focus. You can't predict it. You can't outsmart it. You can only be aware, which is exhausting, maddening, and horrifyingly human. The narrative structure of SCP-173 stories amplifies the terror. Containment breaches, failed procedures, guards snapping under pressure. All of it is meticulously designed to make you question the reliability of your senses. The horror doesn't come from gore or violence. It comes from the creeping inevitability. A lapse in concentration, a fraction of a second, a blink, and the world ends in a snap that is sudden, brutal, and final. And then you think about the implications. What if this is not just a fictional story, What if the fear is the point? Reading about SCP-173, imagining it, simulating its presence in your mind, you have already internalized the rules. Your imagination obeys the creature's logic, constant vigilance, hyper-awareness, the unbearable weight of possibility. SCP-173 is also a masterclass in human obsession. It lures readers into a feedback loop of fear, curiosity, and compulsion. You read about containment procedures. You imagine the guards. You picture the moments when fatigue, blinking, or distraction leads to death. And then you check the corner of your room, your shadowy periphery, your blinking eyes. It's not just a story. It's a psychological trap. It's a mirror showing how humans process risk, pattern, and threat. You realize that the creature lives in the space between observation and unobserved reality. In essence, SCP-173 exists most vividly in your mind because your mind is incapable of ignoring the rules it has just been taught. And then there's the absurdity. Consider a world where a single statue can outsmart human cognition, where physical strength is irrelevant, and where the simplest bodily function, blinking, is lethal. The cosmic humor here is brilliant. You can imagine the authors, somewhere, laughing as millions of readers involuntarily hold their eyes open, pacing, scanning rooms, trying to convince themselves that it's just fiction. The horror is not confined in narrative. It leaks into reality. Every mundane object is suddenly suspect. Every corner could conceal an impossible predator. Every blink, a potential death sentence. The sheer ingenuity of terror here is staggering. A creature that kills not because it is violent, but because it exists, because it defies perception, because it forces your mind into an endless loop of vigilance, panic, and dread. In the end, SCP-173 is more than a monster. It is a meditation on the fragility of human perception. It is a mirror to our fears, a catalyst for obsession, a test of attention and endurance. It is terrifying not because it can move, but because you can't ignore it, even when you're far from a containment chamber or a fluorescent-lit facility. You can't ignore it because your imagination obeys the rules, and it thrives there. It's a masterwork of horror, a creature that is simultaneously inert and unstoppable, simple and infinitely complex, fictional yet psychically invasive. And as you read this, blink if you must. Just remember, somewhere in some shadowy corner of your mind, SCP-173 is waiting, patient, silent, and perfectly still, ready to snap.